welcome to another video on the Life After Brady channel. Today we're going to take a big picture recap after the Patriots lose yesterday to the Las Vegas Raiders on a walk-off touchdown by Chandler Jones. We're not going to focus on that game really, or the play that absolutely just speechless and left everyone in England speechless. We're going to take a little bit of a bigger picture look at what this team is currently at, specifically Mac Jones and his passing attack. So we're going to look at the last 3 years. We go back to Cam Newton in 2020, the COVID year, Mac in his rookie year, and then Mac this year. We're going to look 3 different ways. First, we'll look at the basic passing stats, what you're used to: completion percentage, touchdown, interception, yards a game, that sort of thing. So at first, we were looking just at Mac Jones versus rookie year. And if you look at that, so that second to last row versus the bottom row, you're basically going to see every single row he is worse. And clearly, everyone knows that. That's the reason Matt Patricia's head has been called for, because Mac's obviously the same guy. Most of this offense is the same, besides basically Damian Harris being replaced by Ramondre Stevenson. But otherwise, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, all still there. You additionally have Devontae Parker this year, so theoretically it should be a little bit of a step up. Some changes on the offensive line, at right tackle specifically, but otherwise this year's just been a step down. Completion percentage-wise, pretty similar. Interception-wise, he's going to end up actually lower probably than he did last year, though I don't have that as an interception percentage, where he did miss time this year versus not missing any time last year. And then yards, pretty consistent but lower, and then rating-wise, he's worse. Now I bring that up because clearly he shocked people when they replaced Cam Newton at the start of last season. So what did Cam do that year before? 65.8%, basically the same exact percentage. Touchdown and interception-wise, they're going to finish in the pretty similar regards, unless he lights up one of these last 3 opponents touchdowns-wise, and realistically he could surpass that interception mark with the Buffalo and Miami defenses both playing pretty well. Yards per attempt, he's worse. Yards a game, he's more. And then rating-wise, Cam was better, which if the whole point was to be better than Cam Newton, he's not doing that. We'll now look kind of in advanced stats-wise. We did not take into account Cam Newton, just kind of what was happening. Basically, he's throwing the ball a little shorter this year, 8 yards versus 7.4 yards, and then yards after completion per attempt, he's getting a little bit more. It really just shows what Ramondre has done out of the backfield. They lost James White early last year, never really found that receiving back to get yards after catch, and Ramondre stepped in this year and has been a plus. Drop percentage-wise, the receivers have helped him out less this year, slightly more drops, and then his on-target percentage per Pro Football Reference has gone down this year. His bad throw percentage has also gone down, as in he's thrown less bad balls, but he's been less on target per Pro Football Reference. One of the things that people have attacked Patricia on is the play action. So you have Ramondre working this year, at least it feels like he's working, but you're not really running the play action. It seems like, if they're single back with Mac under center, they're going to run the ball, and if they're back in shotgun, they could run or pass. You're not really seeing a lot of play action, and that kind of shows it right here. They're not going to come anywhere close to that play action total a year ago, and play action has been good for them. 7.7 yards per attempt compared to, we go back here, at 6.9 yards per attempt normally. So you'd like to see a little bit more of that play action, really use both sides of the offense. And the one surprising note to me is Ramondre has taken a step, well, I shouldn't say Ramondre's taking a step back. Clearly he's taken a step forward, but they lost the 1-2 punch with Damian Harris being hurt for most of the second half of this year. So their league rushing rank is actually 19th compared to 8th last year. This kind of more specifically talks to yesterday. We looked specifically in terms of worst passing defenses, in terms of adjusted net yards per pass attempt. You can cut it up a couple different ways, but these are 3 or 4 of the worst defenses the Patriots have played this year in terms of passing. The 2 best games are the Vikings and Lions game. You see Mac there, the 28th ranked Vikings. He had 10.82 yards, adjusted yards per pass attempt. For reference, most of these teams are around 7.7. So if you're above that, you're doing well. If you're below that, it was a pretty bad game. So that Vikings game, he lit them up, almost 11 yards per pass attempt, 72% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, nearly 400 yards, pretty stellar. Zappe's best game was against the Lions, but looking back, it wasn't as great as you thought. Completion percentage was above where Mac's been, but he was throwing the interceptions compared to Mac has not thrown interceptions, at least as of recently. Um, Under 200 yards in both those games. So you're not exactly lighting up those defenses. The one that hurts, though, as I know I'm jumping around here, the 31st ranked Raiders yesterday. Now, they did run for over 200 yards. They lit them up there, and clearly that was the game plan. But when they did pass, it was terrible. I mean, 31 pass attempts, goes 13 for 31 for 41.9% completion percentage, 112 yards. Just really embarrassing. No passing touchdowns. You just can't have that, and that's why, to me, it's time to flip to Zappe. It just clearly is not working this year. Mac has taken a step back. He's not lit up teams the way he should. Go back here. Mac's just not the same quarterback he was last year. Is it Mac? Is it Patricia? Is it something else? Is he battling injuries? It clearly just is not working. With that loss yesterday, you lock yourself maybe into the 7th seed at best, but probably you knock yourself out with 3 really hard games against the Bengals, Dolphins, and Bills to finish the year. I just don't see the reason to keep Mac playing. I think you got to see what Zappe has. I know you practice with Zappe every day, but play within the game. Let Mac go back and study. I think kind of the way the Jets handled the Zach Wilson situation recently. They benched him for a game or two. Obviously, he had to come in for Mike White. He lost yesterday against the Lions, but you let Mac have a little mental reset, and then have a true competition when you come into 2023. Because this quarterback right now is going to end the year on a pretty sour note. It looks like, and you just can't have that. You can't. You're going to have massive changes coming into next year, and it's going to have to start with Mac Jones, mentally resetting, which to me right now, maybe give him a game off or two. Looking bigger picture at the Patriots, offensively they struggled. They're in the bottom third of nearly all offensive categories. You can see the top table there. They don't pass the ball well. They don't run the ball great. They are not turning the ball over anymore. As you see on the right side, they're down to drives ending in a turnover at 12%, which is 6th in the league. So they're doing well there. But they just can't put drives together. 29th in number of plays per drive, and this is the team that does not get chunk plays at all. I don't have that here, but they're not getting chunk plays. They're 25th in yards, 24th in points per drive at 1.63. This offense has just struggled. So it's time to reset to me to end the year with a different quarterback. It just isn't working, especially because you're just floundering an absolutely phenomenal season from your defense, led by your defensive line and Matt Judon and Josh Uche. This defense is currently 7th in points, 6th in yards, 4th in turnovers, and in terms of points per drive, they're 3rd. Really just doing a phenomenal job, and then they're setting the offense up. The offense is starting at their own 31, which is the best start in the league for an offense, and just really letting the team down on the other side of the ball. Going down to the bottom, and we'll get into this a little bit more in a second. This is the obviously most glaring issue. They can't score, and they can't score in the red zone. They struggle to get down there, and then when they do get down there, they're the actual worst in the league, with 14 red zone touchdowns on 37 red zone attempts, good for 38%, worst in the league. And it's just not going to work that way. And we'll go into a little bit later in a different video why that is, but basically, we have here, if they scored at league average compared to worse, the league average is 56.7% compared to the 38% that they're scoring at. That'd be 7 more touchdowns, assuming that they kicked field goals in all those drives instead of scoring touchdowns. It'd be 28 more points, which would bring them up from 17th in the league to 13th in the league, making a significant difference. Instead of being fighting, the edge of playoff contention, they'd probably be a 6th seed and be locked in. Maybe getting to play Cincinnati for a playoff game instead of in December in the regular season. So to me, it's time for a change. Just not working in the red zone. It's not working on this offense. Bill Belichick, I said, Matt Patricia's not going anywhere. So if he's not going anywhere, to me, it's time to change your players, at least for right now, before major offseason changes come. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.